gang, how you doing? Welcome back to Net Talk 757. I'm Keith. That's Dave. How you doing? I really don't know what I'm supposed to say right now, but...
You missed it. I gave the 757 thing behind you.
Oh, did you?
It was pretty cool.
Was it?
Check it out.
Okay.
Much cooler than your hat.
See, I'm wearing this hat on purpose because my daughter, my son, and my wife hate it.
I like it.
It's my camping.
It's Under Armour.
It's my camping and fishing hat. Right?
You look like you're ready to go fishing in that thing.
I am. Did I show you the picture? Look at this fish I caught. Excuse us.
I don't believe it until I see the picture.
Hold on. And the only reason I caught this fish is because I was wearing the hat.
I think it's just a model.
Oh, I know I'm a model. See, look.
Doesn't even look real.
I don't even know if you can see it.
I think it's fake.
It's real. Anyways, Net Talk 757. What are we here to talk about this time?
We're here to hopefully help you,
Do you remember?
or maybe give you some insight on maybe how to go about selecting a volleyball club for your kids.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
We have a list right here, and that's what we're going to talk
Yep.
about. I forgot that's what it was.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about it. What is it, Dave? You know, Dave and Keith. What is it that you think is really important when you're talking about picking a club for your kid?
Wow.
Or not just for your kid,
Well,
if you're yourself.
Yeah. It's a tough question because I think everyone is a little different.
Agreed.
And I think that's the biggest thing is, when you are looking at choosing a volleyball club to play for, you need to really make a list of what are the things that are important to you and what are the things that are important to your family.
Right.
Because I think each club has something different to offer,
Right.
and all do a good job at offering that product.
Mm-hmm.
But you see so many people that they're halfway through the juniors year, and they say something like, "Well, I didn't think this is what it was going to be about," and you feel bad, but you also look and you say, "Yeah, but this club has been doing this sort of this way for years, so."
Mm-hmm.
Why did you get involved in this club if that wasn't what you were, looking at doing?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think you got to make a list. The things on those lists could be, is playing time.
Hold on. Guys, listen, it's important. You hear this all the time. At least I know adults. And kids, if you haven't, listen. Making a list is huge. I'm assuming you're going like a pros cons list.
Right.
A pros and cons list, all right? And most people talk about it. Probably 1% actually do it. I do it. I'm a person who actually, when I make a decision, I take a piece of paper, I draw a line right down the piece of paper, pros and cons, and you list it. Because you know what? You can sit there and say, "Oh, I'm going to list it," and in your mind say, "Okay, this is good, this is good, this is bad." But until you actually look at it on paper, and that provides you an opportunity to sit down with your parent or you to sit down with your kid and go through it.
Yep.
So what he's about to say, and I hope you remember because I completely interrupted you, but what he's about to say is huge, but actually write it down. Get the paper, pause this video, write it down right now.
Right. So what maybe we could do is I'll mention maybe a few things that could go on the pros and cons list, and maybe we'll try to actually put it up on the video segment of it if we can. We'll give it an opportunity, all right? So that list maybe is there for you guys so that you can see and maybe use the same thing. So like some of the things on the list, and hop in if you have something too, because I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I don't have anything written down.
No notes.
We
didn't make it.
Right. Is playing time more important or is training more important?
Okay.
You could probably go to some programs and they're going to have a lot less kids. So your playing time is going to be maybe higher. But you may, or you maybe go to a program that has more kids on the team, but that the training may be stronger. So which one is more important? How far do you want to travel?
Yeah.
Some clubs don't go very far.
Right.
Some clubs are traveling all around the country. How much money do you want to spend? Some clubs you can play for maybe several $100s. Some clubs are several $1,000s. How much exposure do you want? How do you feel like your kid needs a lot of exposure to colleges where they're going to need that travel, or do they not need as much exposure to colleges?
Number of tournaments.
Number of tournaments you're going to.
You can get burned out, or you could just keep going and going and going and never have enough.
Exactly. The size of tournaments. Do you want to play in the really large tournaments, or are the smaller tournaments the thing for you? And then on top of that, I think you need to look at, how does a club operate? Some clubs, they do all the travel for you and your child. Some clubs, you're responsible for doing that.
Right.
Some clubs, they're going to supply vans for the players to travel in. Some clubs, you're going to have to drive your child to these events. Some clubs, the players all room together in rooms, and they get those rooms, and then you pay the club for those rooms.
Right.
Some clubs, the players stay with their parents.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you really have to do some research, talk to some people. I think the worst decisions you guys can make is, I want to go where my buddy's going.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily the best situation. I would almost be like picking a college because your buddy's going to that college, not because you really like that college or that's the college that's best for you.
Where the club's actually located, are you willing to travel, right?
Do you want to travel?
You could be a Virginia Beach kid and you want to go up to the peninsula, or you could be a peninsula kid that wants to come down to the beach, or a Chesapeake kid who wants to stay in Chesapeake. You just need to understand where you're willing to travel, how many practices they have
a week. Do they do extra training sessions?
Right.
For you guys who are really interested in college, what is their history on getting kids into college programs? Do they have a great history? Is it a newer club that doesn't have as much of a history? What are their connections?
Flexibility, right?
Yeah.
Is and this is, understand, all these things we're talking about, we're just giving you ideas. These are questions you're going to have to ask when you go to the tryouts, or when you email the coaches, email the directors. You want to ask these questions. What is the team's philosophy on prom, right? If a kid goes to prom, will that hurt them?
Ring dances, college visits,
studying. I've had in the past AP players, like, coach, I gotta miss practice tonight or else. Well, some clubs say, to be a good player in college, you need to manage that and you need to be at practice. Other clubs are like, I understand, go. It's not going to hurt you. So those are questions you need to ask yourself. Or you want to teach your kid to be able to really manage time and challenge them, or you want your kid to get into the school and actually be able to study, right then and there, and volleyball isn't the priority, or, that's a parent decision. I mean, I personally, it doesn't matter to me. It's what the parent wants.
Well, on that same note, not just studying, but some of you guys out there are multi-sport athletes.
Right.
Some clubs accept that a little bit more, and if you're a basketball player and you're missing some practices because you have high school basketball, they're more willing to do that. And some clubs are like, hey, we expect if you're part of this club that you're making volleyball your only commitment.
Yeah.
So you got to look at those types of things as well.
Yeah. What else?
I think the more information you can get about a club, the better off you're going to be. But then on top of that, after you make that list, I think you got to really research who the coach is too.
Sure.
And most clubs will list their coaches and what coaches are coaching what age levels well before you have to make a commitment for the tryout. Now, every once in a while, something happens and a coach has to leave and they get replaced, and that you can't do much about after you've already made a commitment. But if you know that your coach is, going to be there, or if the coach says that they're going to be there for the full season, I think it's part of the parents and players' responsibility to research that coach and see, does that coach fit into maybe what my son or daughter wants to be about.
Right.
And
something that goes with that, right, too, when you do that research, don't just rely on one source.
Yes.
I mean, because, in the past, I guarantee you, and I don't even know this for a fact, but I guarantee you, if you talk to a certain handful of parents over the 20 plus years you've coached, if they get the right parent, they're going to say, you suck, you're the worst coach in the world, they should never play for you. Right. So if that happened to be the person you called, and Dave was going to be your coach, and you run with that, then all of a sudden, but then, you call someone else, and you're like, oh, Dave's a great coach. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful you need to research it. You need to find out who the coaches are. You need to find out if they're skilled and if they have a passion for the sport. But make sure you don't just go to one person and you don't just get that one person's insight, because that person, maybe Dave's a terrible coach, but he clicked with the person you happen to call with, and they're like, oh my God, he's the best coach in the world. Right. But then you go talk to 10 other people and say he's horrible. So you make sure you get a broad sampling of who you're talking to.
So basically, do your homework.
Yeah.
Check out a bunch of different clubs. Try to go to several different tryouts. Get a feel for what you're doing, and make that pros and cons list so you know going in whether that club fits you and your family's needs before you even go that direction.
Right, and so let's see. We don't know all. I don't have all the dates in front of us, but we do know the last 2 weeks in July.
Last 2 weeks in July are usually
first week in August.
Usually pretty big weeks for juniors tryouts. And when we get information on the clubs, we'll post it.
Yeah, as I would say, as soon as we get all this stuff, I think we'll try and post it in one post with all the clubs and when their tryouts are. I know as of right now, a lot of them have them out, but they all don't. So right. we want to remain, as we've said the whole time, as unbiased as possible. We're trying to just put out the information, and as soon as we gather it, we'll try and get it out there.
And good luck in your tryouts, and I hope you find a great spot for you and have a successful junior season. And
keep digging.
Keep digging. Catch you later.
Guys.